right, good evening, everyone. Calling the Caldwell County Board of Commissioners meeting to order for March the 10th, 2025. I'd like to welcome everyone who's in our audience this evening and those that are now joining us by internet, YouTube, TV, and a host of other mediums. And so we appreciate you being interested in your county government. Our first order of business is our invocation. Pastor Rick Barber with Anchor Church is with us this evening. And if you'll come up to the podium, sir, and then after that, we'll do our Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Jeff Branch will lead us in that. So thank you for being here, Pastor.
Yes. Respectfully, if I may make one correction, my first name is Rocket.
Yes,
Most
sir.
people question that because it's unusual, but that is correct. If you'll join me in prayer this evening. Father, we come to you tonight, and we recognize that all authority is given by you. You tell us that in Romans chapter 13, and so tonight we submit to your authority as we come together in the name of governing this county. I thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to be in your presence and for the men that you have gathered here to make the decisions that will lead us in the direction you would have us go. I pray that your Spirit would be present and would guide all of their decisions and every thought and every word that is spoken in this room, and that we would leave here having glorified you in everything that we've said and everything that we've done as we try to steer this county in the direction that would honor you best. In your name we pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone face the flag, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Pastor. Thank you, everyone. First item is, are there any amendments to the agenda this evening?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We are going to remove item number 4 from the agenda tonight and move that to the April meeting.
All right,
And that's the only change we have tonight.
all right. So do I hear a motion we adopt our agenda this evening?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, and that carries. So thank you for that. The first item on our agenda is a resolution, and this is for retirement of K-9 Poncho. Captain Derek Filyall's with us this evening. And Poncho's here.
Star of the show.
Star of the show here. Got two resolutions, the retirement of K-9 Poncho and K-9 Angie. Good to go with the resolution?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Whereas K-9 Poncho and his handler Corporal Matthew January have been a great benefit to the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office and its communities, and whereas it has come to time for Poncho to retire for his service to the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Caldwell finds that Sheriff K-9 Poncho should be retired to a member of the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office due to the additional training and responsibility which is required. And whereas General Statute 160A-266D permits the Board of Commissioners of the County of Caldwell to authorize the disposition of personal property and describe thereunto. And whereas Corporal Matthew January of the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office has agreed to purchase K-9 Poncho from the Caldwell County NC in the amount of $1, and upon accepting custody of the dog will assume liability and responsibility for the care of the animal for the remainder of its life. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the County of Caldwell authorizes the purchase of K-9 Poncho by Corporal Matthew January for the amount of $1, effective March 10th, 2025.
All right. So hearing the resolution read this evening, do I hear a motion that we adopt this resolution and the adoption of K-9 Poncho by his handler, Mr. January?
Mr. Chairman, I would think that we need to do that.
All right. Any other discussion? I will say we appreciate everything you've done, Corporal, and what Poncho's done. And I know that he's going to go have a long life, and we're happy about that and for everything he's done for our county. So with that, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries unanimously. So congratulations. Do we, we want to come down, shake hands, and, or no?
We can, we have one more, if you want to do them both together.
Yeah,
and
let's
get some
do
pictures.
that.
Okay.
If they won't fight when they get up here,
No, well, I don't know about the dogs.
all right. So the next one is K-9 Angie. Go ahead, yes, sir.
Whereas Sheriff's K-9 Angie and the handler Corporal Chase Bowman have been a great benefit to the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office and its communities, and whereas it has come to time for Angie to retire from her service to Caldwell County Sheriff's Office, and whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Caldwell finds that Sheriff K-9 Angie should be retired to a member of the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office due to the additional training and responsibility which is required. And whereas General Statute 160A-266D permits the Board of Commissioners of the County of Caldwell to authorize the disposition of personal property as described thereunto. And whereas Corporal Chase Bowman of the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office has agreed to purchase retired K-9 Angie from the County of Caldwell in the amount of $1, and upon accepting custody of the dog, will assume all liability and responsibility for the care of the animal for the remainder of its life. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the County of Caldwell authorizes the purchase of K-9 Angie by Corporal Chase Bowman for the amount of $1, effective March 10th, 2025.
All right, and here the resolution read, I'll make a motion that we adopt it this evening and allowing K-9 Angie to be purchased by Corporal Chase Bowman. So is there any question or comment? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that carries unanimously. So thank you again for everything, Corporal. And I know what Angie, just as a little recap, I know you probably know this because I heard you speak somewhere else about her, and just give us what she's meant to Caldwell County. Can you, for just a moment?
As like a seizure amount.
Yes, sir.
So the closest number I have the exact number at the office, but it's a little over 14 million in narcotic seizures.
Yeah. So, very beneficial for residents of our county and all that they do. So, I don't know if we have a report from Corporal Matthew back there, but anyway, y'all want to go down and shake hands and make pictures? Y'all want us to come make pictures? Yeah. I don't know, we might get bit. Oh, yeah, I'll get the sheriff. Family in here? Y'all in here?
Our basement flooded the house, so we were all knee deep
Oh,
in water. And we made it. I appreciate it.
You want a picture with us? Or just him? All right. Next, we have a resolution this evening for Line Worker Appreciation Day. And Miss Robin Nichols is with us this evening from Duke Energy. So Robin, you want to come up and we can present you with this, as well as all the line workers from that have provided so much, especially since Helene hit. And so we certainly are appreciative of all of that. So I got the resolution here somewhere. You want me to read it? May as well? Okay, I'll read it. All right.
Make Robin
So, no, I'm not gonna make Robin read it. So, a proclamation for the Line Worker Appreciation Day. Whereas on April the 10th, 2013, a resolution was passed in the United States Senate to recognize April 18th annually as National Lineman Line Worker Appreciation Day. And whereas the profession of the electrical line worker is steeped in personal, family, and professional tradition. And whereas line workers are often first responders during storms and other catastrophic events, working to make the scene safe for other public safety officials and to expedite the return of vital electric power to our communities. And whereas these brave men and women work with thousands of volts of electricity, high atop power lines 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, risking and sometimes losing their lives to keep electricity flowing. And whereas line workers are often faced with dangerous conditions far from their families as they work to construct and maintain energy infrastructure throughout the state of North Carolina and the United States. And whereas line workers must use their technical knowledge, physical strength, ingenuity to achieve success in challenges they face every day. And whereas the Caldwell County Board of Commissioners thanks these skilled and heroic line workers who brave hurricanes, ice storms, snowstorms, floods, and other natural disasters to maintain our community's energy grid, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Caldwell County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim Friday, April the 18th as Line Worker Appreciation Day. So do I hear a motion that we adopt this proclamation?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adopt this
Proclamation.
proclamation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll add it.
Any other comment or discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. And no need to ask about opposition, all right? So, Robin, you got anything you'd like to say? I mean, you're never at a loss for words that I've known you.
Thank you, and very true. No, just thank you so much for recognizing our linemen, all of the support folks who are working there right alongside our line technicians each and every day. This past year has been something that none of us ever thought we would have to face, and they have persevered. They have worked until the job is done, and we're not real sure when that's going to be, though, because we're still out there
Right.
fixing a lot of things that that happened during Helene. But we just hope and pray that we do not see anything like this again in anytime soon, and definitely not anytime in the future. But thank you so much for recognizing the linemen.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being here this evening.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, I would like to acknowledge something that happened in conjunction about the same time as Hurricane Helene. And unfortunately, we had it scheduled to make this presentation, and that was on September 26th, I believe. Needless to say, we did not get the chance to do that. So I would like to, if I may, make a presentation now to Caldwell County.
All right.
Last year, Duke Energy offered disaster preparedness grants from our foundation, and I'm pleased to announce that last fall, Caldwell County was selected as one of those recipients for $25,000. Like I said, we did not get the chance to do this announcement last year, so if it would be acceptable, I'd like to award this to Emergency Management. I believe Vic and Jeff and some others are here.
Yep. Come on up, gentlemen.
So on behalf of Duke Energy, congratulations on this grant, and we know that it will be used wisely and for the preparedness of the county. Thank y'all, and I didn't get to do this last fall. Thanks.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
That's a big check.
It is a big change.
All right, we appreciate that. Do we have anybody from RHA Behavioral here this evening? Speak up or forever hold your peace. I think we've tried to get them here a couple times, haven't we?
There was an issue with the last meeting.
Okay. Must be an issue with this meeting too. All right. So that brings us to item 6, which is Caldwell County Housing Plan. Ashley Bolick is with us and Allison Adams. So, good evening, Miss Bolick.
Good evening, Chairman and fellow commissioners. Just wanted to introduce this project. Caldwell County Economic Development, understanding that there's a great need for housing in Caldwell County, undertook this project in 2024 in partnership with the City of Lenoir. They helped fund this project, in addition to Caldwell County, of course. We selected Western Piedmont Council of Governments to complete this housing needs plan. This plan assesses the various demographics and housing preferences of potential home buyers and renters for Caldwell County. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ms. Allison Adams, whom you probably already know, but she's the planning director at Western Piedmont Council of Governments. She's here tonight to present the housing study.
All right, welcome, Miss Adams. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioners, and Ashley for the introduction. I'm sorry, I'm hoarse with all this pollen that's going on, so just bear with me.
Yes, ma'am.
So the housing plan that we put together is really, it's not your typical plan. It's not a large document with lots of numbers and all that stuff. It's more of a tool. So think of it in that capacity as we go through this presentation. So the housing plan itself, it's not very large. Like I said, it's about 16 to 18 pages, somewhere in there. But it covers a lot of ground. And we put a lot of stuff in there that hits main points. So these are the primary things that it covers. So here's what we know about housing. And this is probably preaching to the choir, but let's go ahead and get it out of the way. So interest rates have increased. Product cost is higher. We have limited financing options. As well as, demand continues to outpace the supply of housing. We also have a generational change of home ownership. We have folks that are, basically, they want a different product. And also, when people are purchasing houses are a lot later in life than what we've seen in previous decades. The other thing is we have a shift in market preference, like I just said, and then barriers for first-time home buyers, which is not only the cost, but it's also the financing piece. And because a lot of folks that if they went to college, they have student loans and things like that. So it puts them a little bit more behind. There are also market gaps that we're looking at for workforce, multifamily, and housing options that we're not seeing in the market. So some main things to point out on here, and I'm not going to take a huge deep dive, but if you want to have a conversation offline, I am happy to. But the main things that I want to point out, that from January 24 to 25, there were some big jumps, okay? And so when we're looking at this, specifically Caldwell County, so you can see that the average sale price, it jumped 19%. The median sales price jumped 28% from $235,000 to $301,000. The other things that I will show is like the market, how many days on the market is products staying on there. So we're up 22%, which is good to some degree, but the other piece that we really need to look at is our housing inventory. And so we really want to have anywhere from 4 to 6 months of housing inventory available. And right here, we have 2.5 months worth. So that tells us we have a desperate need for housing. So why Caldwell? And we all know this. I mean, you live here, it's gorgeous here. And it's all about proximity and availability of land and cost of living and things like that. So let's move on. Demographics. So here's a big takeaway from this project. The demographics have shifted a little bit. So we're starting to see increases in workforce, so 45 to 65, as well as big one, 18 to 34. So that increase in that population means we have a pipeline that we're feeding our workforce, which is great because that means we need housing to put these folks in, and we need more. And if we're attracting those people here, then more are going to come, right? So the other thing that I will tell you is about the demographics is that we heard previous years that we have an aging population. Still the case, but at the same time, we're seeing that transition, which is very positive. So where are these folks coming from? And this is a big thing, a big takeaway. So we have a lot of inter-county movement. So let's say somebody moves from Granite Falls to Lenoir or somewhere else across the county. That's the white same county movement. So in the blue, that is different counties. So county to county in the state of North Carolina, we're seeing typically people coming from cities wanting a more rural atmosphere. The biggest thing is looking at different states. And this is where you see people from Florida, Pennsylvania, California are moving here. Now, some of them, Florida's like the halfbackers, that's what we call them, because they don't want to go all the way back up north, so they stop halfway. They get the best of both worlds, right? You get the mountains, you got the beach, and you've got municipalities, and you've got country rural life. So I think that explains a lot of that. But the biggest takeaway from this piece is how do we market to those folks? If it's the 18 to 34s that are coming, how do we market to those folks to get them to come and locate here and provide, basically, more jobs, more housing means more economic resiliency. And so then we look at vacancy rates down there at the bottom. Commuters. So this is telling you several things. So commuters in and out of the county. Holistically, we're a strong region. Okay, if we have commuters going out of the county, that means we're a veteran community, and we're sending workers out. But that does mean that people are, paying taxes here, and they have sales tax, and there's gas tax, and all those things. Like, because when they come home, they're going to need groceries, they're going to fill up the car, they're going to tote their kids around to different events. So those folks that live here that are commuting out, it's typically they're looking at this as a bedroom community. The other thing is the commuting in, which has increased over the years, means that workers are coming here to work, which is positive, phenomenal. And so if we can continue to keep that growing, we're moving in the right direction. 15,000 folks stay in Caldwell County to work every day. So this tells me we have a pretty good region because we're seeing movement. But the big takeaway here is how do we market to the people that are leaving? How do we get them to stay here for jobs? And some of it's housing, and some of it's workforce development, and nothing's in a vacuum, right? So it's all cyclical. It all has to work together. Cost of living and prices. So this is a huge takeaway. We always hear it's affordable to live here, okay? But proof's in the pudding. So if we look at this, Lenoir, Morganton, Hickory, our region is a very cost-effective place to live in comparison. Right up the mountain, Boone, it goes, much higher. And so the good thing is that we need to be marketing to folks that we are an affordable place to live, that has quality of life and good schools. And I'll get to the good schools here in a minute. So diverse economy, you know, whenever we had the economic downturn, we put all our eggs in one basket, right? And so then we learned, we're just like, okay, we have to diversify our economy. We've worked really hard to do that here in Caldwell County. And Ashley and her team are doing a great job. But this is just some examples of some of the companies and the diversity in industry that exists here in Caldwell County. The other thing that I will mention is you have Lenoir that's down the hill, but you have a very, very strong community college, one of the best in the state. And so leveraging that and being able to create a workforce pipeline with Barks' help, you know, that makes for a strong argument of why you should locate here. And then the investment from App State right down the hill, and you guys are in between. And so you have to leverage that, and I think that'll really pay off with housing and workforce and just resiliency altogether. So products that came out of this is huge. So for developers, this is going to be a tool that our economic development folks can use, and our planners, et cetera, that they can, we did 24 site cut sheets. And so this tells people, you know, what is the zoning on it? How close is it to sewer and water? So this is the low-hanging fruit. This is what needs to be developed. And so this is just an example here on the screen. It's right there in Roadhus. It's on the lake. This is the Caldwell side of the lake. And so right now we have 2 developers looking at this. And since we've made the presentation to the economic development at their board meeting where we invited builders and developers, Ashley has had, more than a handful of meetings with people interested in developing now. And so giving her these tools in this toolbox is going to be instrumental in helping stimulate growth and housing for this region. So we did a housing preference survey, and this was just to take a sample of what folks liked. And I'll just summarize what that is. So most people like privacy. They liked green space and open space, sidewalks, large lot homes with privacy. If they were medium lot homes, then they liked ranch-style homes with garages and porches. Nobody wanted to park on the street. So to all the developers, take note, nobody wants to park on the street. Respondents also liked townhomes, but they wanted to have a parking option, whether that be behind the unit or in front of the unit with a garage or a carport. And then condos, people really seemed to like the concept of condos because it was low maintenance. They didn't have to maintain the outside or any of the property, so they didn't have to mow grass. And then duplexes were also a point of interest whenever you could put them on a corner lot so that they had multiple entrances from both sides. So it looks like a single-family home in a neighborhood. We went on a housing field trip with the EDC. We had a slew of folks that went with us from all different job sectors. And so these are just examples of the products that we saw. And that's a list of the diversified housing types. Those are a list of all the products we saw. But the primary takeaways here that we got from the group that went out was they like to leverage local developers and give them financing options. Single-family homes were something that was important with quality materials, and they preferred HOAs because they linked HOAs from the developer, builder, HOA manager. The HOA that did all of those seemed to have a stronger hold with keeping things up, maintenance and things like that. So that was very much favored. Blending in with existing neighborhoods and then public-private partnerships was a huge thing that they saw as valuable. We did a few case studies looking at different workforce developments. This is the big takeaway and this shows in the study that different age groups want different things. And so what you have is the boomers are sitting on the houses. They don't want to move. They don't want to go to any kind of assisted living per se until they absolutely have to. Gen X's, they're wanting to downsize. Millennials are wanting to upsize. And Gen Z's are like, I can't afford this. So what do I do? And so those folks are looking at apartments, things where they can rent, or they want to be mobile. They don't necessarily want to be tied down. And so those are all important topics when we start talking about housing and how we appeal to somebody. And looking at that 18 to 34 age range, we need to be mindful of this study. So, and then in the plan, we pointed out different successes that had occurred. So this is a project in Hudson that is a subsidized project. Bluebell, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. Folks really like this because they like the historic feel of the brick and things, and so the characteristics are what really drives somebody to something like this. This is Duke Street Cottages. This is a cottage court example. And then the public-private partnership that is getting ready, hopefully, to get kicked off the ground with approvals of everyone in Cages Mountain. And so, just like any other plan, we're going to make recommendations. And the recommendations are just keep pushing forward with these initiatives, building infrastructure, working on brownfields and reuse opportunities, and then expanding broadband and helping to do that. And then data-driven market decisions. So, as I mentioned, there were different people coming from different places, actually using like mobile phone data like we have at the COG Placer to be able to do some analysis to say, okay, here's where they're actually coming from. Why are they coming here? What socioeconomics, do they fall into? Those kind of criteria. And then we can look and see how we market. Financial resources, so looking at revolving loan pools and joint child care plans. And some of these things are not county specific. These are more industrial specific, like joint child care plans and things like that, thinking about different industries and how they serve their workers. But we can help try to facilitate those conversations and open that door. Also, maybe pre-packaged approved residential drawings that have already gone through the process, and then short-term housing workforce consortiums. It's really hard to get somebody to come here and live if they can't find housing, so if we can partner together and create options for maybe temporary housing while the family, finishes school and a job, and then they can move here. So why Caldwell? This is the overarching reason why we did this plan. Okay, so why do we want people to move here? Well, because people are moving here, and that's a huge thing. If people are moving here, other people, it's kind of like it's kind of like the herd of cats. They'll all go the same direction, and so. There's available land with infrastructure, and you'll see that with the cut sheets that we created. You also have the in and out of county commuters, and looking at our strong region and how we just leverage that. The walkability scores of not only Lenore but others, if those continue to improve, that tends to be what people want to see as far as when they come and they relocate. They want the ability to walk to the library or wherever. To services. And then our cost of living, that needs to be capitalized on, huge. And then strong educational network. Like I said, I think we need to really leverage the fact that we have one of the strongest community colleges, and then economic diversity of our industry and of our commercial businesses really make us resilient and make us somewhere that people will want to come. So we created these marketing sheets. This is a quick tool that it's a double-sided one sheet. You can give it to, if you're talking to somebody and you're like, hey, here, check us out, come develop here. It's a very quick tool that you can just hand to them, and they can get in touch with Ashley or planning department, et cetera. So that's it. Any questions? I tried to go quick.
Yeah, a lot of information.
It's a lot.
We certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're just echoing the same things that we've said for last several years, and but we're trying to aim at targeting more housing, and we know that because we routinely hear from companies, Excella being one of those, that they're trying to recruit and get the best possible personnel here, but they don't have a lot of options in their housing when they do come. So we certainly are trying to facilitate some of that and understand it.
Yeah.
So,
I think facilitating those conversations
Right.
is really going to be where the rubber meets the road
right.
in the
And
future.
then you highlighted the fact of Appalachian and their investment over in the Hickory area, and that is going to be a big pipeline between the two and we're right in the middle of that pipeline. So
Absolutely.
we know that one too. So we got challenges. But we appreciate you helping us figure those out and get a plan together. That's a big thing.
You're welcome.
And try to bring some folks in.
Got a lot of opportunities for builders too.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We sure do. We're begging them to come.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for being here this evening.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right. Well, that brings us this evening to our consent agenda. And Mr. Wayne Rice, our interim manager, is going to go through that with us.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the first couple of items are from our Economic Development staff. Item number 7 is an administration contract for the Golden Leaf Grant of $50,000 that the county received. This administration is a 5% administration expense, $2,500 in contingency funds that would allow the COG to Western Piedmont Council of Governments to administer that Golden Leaf grant for the county. Item number, number 8 is the environmental site assessment for Foothills Regional Airport Industrial Park, and that is part of that being paid for out of that grant, and so there's no money there from the county additionally than what's already been budgeted, but we are asking for the approval of that environmental site assessment contract. Then number 9 is our sales tax reinvestment agreement, and that is our agreement between the municipalities and the county for the sales tax reinvestment monies, and we thank our municipalities. We've got several of them in attendance tonight, representatives from those municipalities, for agreeing to those terms of that again, and we're asking for your approval of that agreement with no changes other than the dates on that agreement. The COG agreement for code enforcement services, it's an agreement we currently have with the COG for those services, just asking for a renewal of that for another couple of years there. Item number 11 is DSS requests for 4 part-time staff members. These are temporary positions. There's no impact to the budget because it's going to be already out of lapsed salary funds. And my understanding is they're using those positions to catch up the workload some until they can fill the permanent positions, which time then they won't need the temporary folks any longer. Number 12 is a 911 fund balance correction. And this happens, my understanding, this happens almost every year due to disallowed expenses. The county needs to move $20,895 from the general fund back to the 911 fund to match up the fund balance in there. This is money that's already been spent, so it's just correcting the books and reimbursing that money to the 911 fund. Item 13 is Gamewell Sewer Fund. What this will do is allow the county to increase its line items for both revenue and expenses related to Gamewell Sewer. These funds are a flow-through for the county, so there's no county budget impact to that. Then the next item, number 14, is a building inspection supervisor position, requesting permission to hire that. Urgent need to get that position filled due to some upcoming retirements in that department. Then the next item, number 15, is animal care and enforcement, use of donated funds for rabies vaccines. This revision would allow them to use $1,800 in donated funds for their free rabies vaccine event. Again, 100% donated funds, no budget impact there. And then the next item is a health department. Number 16, agreement addendum for professional fees and supplies, allowing them to put into the budget $11,531 of grant funds to be used in their budget. No local impact there on our budget as well. And then the next item, number 17, the exam table purchase this budget transfer allows the health department to use leftover funds in the purchase of an exam table for their clinic. No new monies, they're using existing budgeted funds for that. Sheriff's Office, number 18, a vehicle purchase. This budget revision allows them to trade in an old undercover vehicle for a new one. It's funded by Federal Asset Seizure Fund, so no local tax dollars involved in that. And then number 19 is requesting a budget revision for replacing a wrecked patrol vehicle. And this one does require a fund balance appropriation, but it'll be partially offset by the money we receive in the insurance settlement for the wrecked vehicle that is there. And so you have the information on that. And let's see, then number 20 is ratifying the end date for the last winter storm warning state of emergency. It ended on Monday, February 24th at 800 hours, and just requesting your approval to officially rescind that. Number 21 is appointments to the ETJ members to the Sawmills Planning Board. Adam Wilson, Jeffrey Plummer, requesting appointment as ETJ members of the Sawmills Planning Board. And then number 22 is approval of the 2025 Tri-County Speedway event calendar. You have that in front of you. And then the final thing is the approval of the minutes from the February 10th meeting of the Commissioners.
All right, so hearing all of that in the report, do I hear a motion that we adopt the consent agenda as been presented this evening?
Motion.
All right, any other question or comment? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. And that brings us to the end of our regular meeting this evening. We're going to enter into a closed session. And so I'd like to make a motion to enter into the closed session to consult with the board attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided in North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A3 to discuss matters relating to the location or expansion of industries or other businesses in Caldwell County as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A4 to discuss matters relating to personnel also as provided in the North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6. So having made that motion, any other question or comment about it? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that carries as well. And we don't expect for our press or anything out of that, that closed session in case you wanted to leave this evening. But we are going to enter into closed session now and have those discussions. So again, thank you everyone for being here, and thank you for being in attendance and those watching by TV this evening.